Maritime Matters is brought to you live by Bahamas Maritime Connection.
What is maritime?
Maritime, simply put, relates to navigation or commerce on the high seas.
Some say money makes the world go round. I say ships move the money that make the world move.
Who navigates those large international ships?
How often are international ships required to be surveyed and inspected?
Maritime also protects our seas and borders by way of our local Bahamas Defense
It is
Force.
very sad to say that out of 1,500 plus ships that are registered under the Bahamian flag, only a very small amount of Bahamians are employed.
Maritime Matters.
Very, very pleasant good evening to you, our valued listening audience. Welcome one, welcome all. Welcome to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Bain. In studio with me tonight is my little nephew, DJ. He happened to be an academically and athletically inclined 7th grader. Out of the big red machine. DJ is kind of hanging out with me tonight. And so I give him this opportunity to hail up and send a shout out to his mom before he gets on with his studies as I conduct the show. Yes, he's here to do his homework and all the rest of that good stuff. We're just hanging out together. Welcome to Maritime Matters, DJ.
Good night, Bahamas.
Hello. That's what I'm talking about.
Mommy, I on the show.
Tell
Listen
me.
to it.
That's right. Tell her, listen to the Maritime show.
Hi, Daddy. Hi, Troy. Hi, Annie Kendra. Hi, Uncle Kelton and Uncle CJ. Hi, Evan and JJ.
That's right. So, DJ, you going to be hanging in here with me tonight as the people call in. I see if I can get you to answer one of them questions. But don't worry, I got your back. Yes. All right? Anyway, you just get to your studies, do your homework, and just hang out with me, all right? Well done, my friend. All right, that's DJ, ladies and gentlemen. Our sponsors for the night show, you know the deal, One-on-One Pharmacy, and also Island Care Pharmacy. For all your medication needs, check out my little cousin Shanty McBride and her lovely team at One-on-One Pharmacy in Nassau, and of course, Island Care Pharmacy in Freeport. Fill your prescription at the store or send your refills via the online site, oneononepharmacy.com. That's One-on-One Pharmacy, all one word, lowercase, .com. The 3 locations, again, East Street South, Charles Sanders Highway, those are the 2 in Nassau, and in Freeport Explorers Way, downtown Freeport, directly kind of opposite the Bank of Nova Scotia. Yeah, everybody knows there's only one Scotia branch in Freeport, and that's right opposite, cross the road, cross the highway, the Explorers Way, is Island Care Pharmacy. Little small, little tight, but they got everything you need. I tell you that. Secondly, we're also sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. That's us. We provide a full slate of ISPS maritime security services. Anybody need anything ISPS? Just give us a shout, man. We'll fit you in somehow, or you know how we roll. We'll work it out. Thirdly, we are proud to announce the joint sponsorship of the GBI pilots and Bimini pilots. These are the contingent of independent marine pilots that are making themselves available to provide maritime pilotage to any and all ships outside of the hub of Nassau Harbor and also in the deepwater harbor of Freeport. That means all those family islands, all those private islands that the cruise ships own, any ship needing assistance of pilot, well, they're required to carry pilots, so they need pilot. Call on the Bimini pilots and the GBI pilots. They are there to service your needs. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we shall engage discussions on the large Abaco Shanty town. They're going to be addressed by the Ministry of Works and his team. They supposed to go down there today, check things out, do. Also, a litany of international and domestic maritime challenges. Topics should include, therefore, the big one. The Minister of Works and his team off to Abaco today, the 23rd of January. What will the Minister and the task force come up with. We know that our brother Kai Mills sent out all those Kai Care videos about all those shanty towns. The Pigeon Pea and the mud is a joke now, because I understand these ones are like over 3 times the size of the Pigeon Pea and the mud put together. Because you know the Pigeon Pea and the mud was destroyed by Hurricane Dorian, and people started to want to put some stuff back up, and boy, the government was all over them. It ain't happening on government watch. But guess what? These sorry sufferers decided they're going to take it beyond. And they go on to the back of Dundas Town and the back of Murphy Town, and they made a huge shanty town. All of us know about it. It ain't no secret. The minister say you go down and have a look. The minister knows about it. So we're going to see what our great minister, who's known for breaking down shanty town so far, how are we going to address that big, large, unregulated, legal, I don't know what you call it, breaking all the legal parameters out of the building code, Bahamas building code. How are they going to be? Well, there's only one way to address it. Because if it was me or you in that shanty town, we getting break down. We ain't no shanty town, we get break down if we try to put a little piece on our house and we ain't get no permit number, eh? So we know if you ain't got no permit number, you ain't really in tune with the building code regulations. So your house, we even didn't know what kind, whether it's safe or not, whether it's structurally sound, your sanitation arrangement. We don't know none of that. The government don't know none of that. All the government know is you put, and then guess what? Who land you building that on? Because for you to apply to Ministry of Works for a permit to build a building or add on a structure, you need to prove that you own that land. So, Ministry of Works got to double, triple, however you look at it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to watch and we're going to see how long it's going to take before the government start to take down those unregulated shanty towns. And I don't want you to know foolishness, but some of them's beaming. Yeah, okay, so some of them's beaming, I's beaming too. They'll take mine down if I ain't going through the proper channel, if I ain't own the land. So I don't think those Bahamians own the land. And if they own the land, they need to explain why they have all those unregulated homes on the land they own. So, getting out of this. We want to see that shanty town in particular start to come down. I'm talking about before this month out. We don't need to wait till next month to start breaking that down, because we already know what time it is. Mr. Kai Mills told us and showed us that these people that's starting from scratch and putting these things up and that ain't their land and they in the back of the bush and all the rest of that, they ain't got BEC tie-in with it, they got their own generator. But we don't know what time it is. So we want to see that come down. If anybody disagree with me, please feel free to call in and let me know. You know the deal. 326, that's the number, 8255. So you can call in at any time. I ain't put no limit on you. 326-8255. If you feel like we need to wait beyond January to start crashing down those homes, unregulated homes in that shanty town, call and let me know why. Marine pilots. It's another topic. Now, this marine pilot topic came from 2023. We had 2 sessions, 2 whole shows on marine pilots in the Bahamas. How marine pilots are appointed, how should they be appointed, and all the rest of that. We'll expand on that, the obligations that they have, the obligations that ships have, pertaining to whether or not they need to take on pilot or they required or mandated to take on a pilot before they come drop their anchor in our waters, or even come and tie up their ship to their own private facility. We need to look at that. Not in detail. We look at it in detail. So we need to look at it again. Okay, we got a line blinking. Okay, producer, I'm on, buddy. Thank you very much. Calling you on Maritime Matters. Good evening.
Campaign.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about Shanty towns and Abaco. Have you driven down Carmichael Road lately?
Man, I driven down Carmichael Road. You notice that in Nassau, they've taken 2 shanty towns down so far, right? And these are low-hanging fruits. And we know that they got some big ones, and we also know that Cowpen Road riddled with shanty towns, eh? So we talking about this big one. Did you see
Carmichael Road lately and look to the right-hand side?
Yeah, you mean the one when you
you're going back to your old job.
Yeah, when you pass the Radbat sign. When you pass the Radbat sign, they got off people building on. But the thing about it is, as you know, my friend, I know who this is, but I know you know, because you talking about my old job, right? When you know that whole area was our water reserve. Nothing was even allowed to go near that water reserve, that water table. That's before we used to barge in some of the water from Morgan's Bluff, and the rest was our water table, and that from Gladstone Road all the way down to Coral Harbor Roundabout Road, all along Carmichael Road.
I'm old enough to know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I had a brother, Nimrod Burrows, and my brother, God bless his soul, and he worked with water. He used to be in and out of there, and he used to tell me. They got all kind of roads and wells in the back there, and they be in the back there putting chlorine in the wells, and so I am very familiar with what it was, and well, nowadays, they got the owners starting to take over, eh?
But as I drive down there every day, there's a new road cut, and as I look through, there's more and more houses going up, and the government obviously is asleep, I guess. They're going to wait till it's fester now and get 1,000 homes in the back there, and then they got to spend the taxpayers' money to go and break them down again. Why don't they nip that in the butt right now?
Yeah, but that's the question I want to ask you. Why, in this day and time, 2024, you got drones, the police got 1,000 vehicles, right? You got the Ministry of Works going in and out of Carmichael Road Strip, checking people homes that are, they legitimately building their homes. So while they're going to check some legitimate homes, I'm sure they passing these things and seeing these things. So if you and me try to put one little wash house inside our house, they come at us and tell us we need a work permit. Why are they just ignoring those? Why would they be ignoring those?
I don't really know. It looks like the law in this land is only for Bahamians.
Well, I tell you, my brother, it's up.
People from the South owns this Bahamas, and we didn't know it.
Well, it's up to people like me and you, because if the authorities ain't going to do it, without us putting pressure on them, we have to find a way to put pressure all the time. We need to start standing up for our grandchildren, Because if we allow it to slide, when they come around, it's too late. They could be like, well, Grumpy, where you was?
I have told a few member of parliament about this, but I haven't said anything.
Well, you can't never be done talking.
I haven't sent it to my good friend Clay Sweeten yet, but I will.
Man, please. But I'll tell you one thing that I have been told, not recently, but many years ago. The government, the immigration department, and the Ministry of Works are aware of every single shanty town on this island and in this entire country. They know where they are. They don't have to go wandering or go looking. They know where they are. They just reluctant to act on them.
Sadly to say is all them departments have been infiltrated.
Well, I'm sure they are. But the bottom line is, it's up to we, the people, to cause the government to do what the law provides for when it comes to our country being overswamped, not only with illegal personnel, but with illegal structures. The personnel, you probably got to check. Structures can't move.
Well, we got to do something, I tell you.
Well, we got to start standing up and protesting. That's the only thing we could really do. And once the government see we serious and we protested in strong numbers, they will get on them.
I back to my original point. If you're driving down there, look to the right.
Oh no, yeah, well I am aware.
Bacardi on anytime after Bacardi Road on the right hand side.
Straight up. And you know we had some Bahamians started to build some buildings on that same stretch, on that same side, and you had half of the police force showed up with defense force with guns. You remember that?
You're talking about Lincoln Bay.
Yes, when Lincoln Bay and his crew started to say, well, if they could do it, we could do it. Next thing you know, they got all kind of guns and thing all over the place, asking them to leave. Because
I was driving down Parky Road. Well, this happened a little while.
Yeah, but every day homes are going up. Every day homes are going up illegally in those areas. And I mean, the people don't even own the land. If you ain't own the land, well, that's the first thing government shouldn't allow you, especially if it's crown property. I think that's allow people to go and build on crown land, knowing, man, you see how small this island is? We done ain't got enough land left for development for people who coming up and getting married and need land to build homes. We soon run out, you know.
We got a problem in this country.
Well, we got to stand for
someone wake up soon and smell the coffee.
We got to stand for our grandchildren. That's what we got to do. We got to take a stand as serious Bahamians, because obviously our authorities ain't serious.
I'm from the island. I could always go back there. We ain't got none of them up there yet. That's not like that. That's Long Island.
Well, I know Long Island don't tolerate them kind of things. But in any case, most of the islands, you see, some of the islands like Abaco and I wouldn't even say Freeport, maybe Grand Bahama, maybe less than an 8 Mile Rock, kind of small. But Freeport, the Port Authority ain't gonna allow it. They could be on their game. If we had the Port Authority running Nassau, we wouldn't have had one shanty town in Nassau. And that just goes to show how slack our officials are. It ain't like it can't be done, you see how small Nassau is? It could be done. They just slack. And some of them, of course, probably benefiting from it. But anyway, I appreciate your call, my friend. And you ain't get no kickback from me on what action can be taken. But we are on Abaco now, because Abaco probably the huge, this thing is 3 times the size of the Mud and the Pigeon Pea. It's probably the largest shanty town in the country right now. Thank you for your call. Yes, very good call. Anybody else want to chime in? 326-8255 is the number that we're on. You can reach us, and we'll be happy to hear your views on this. But that's the shanty towns. And again, Minister Clay Sweeting has flown to Abaco today. I don't know if he's staying overnight or he came back. No, he's staying overnight because they got some town meetings I was reading. So he's going to be there, and he's going to have a good opportunity to really have a good look. I hope he link up with Mr. Mills. Guy Mills could carry him wherever he need to go and show him everything he need to see, so that we would know the pertinence of addressing this thing immediately, if not before. Now, back to marine pilots. We said that the appointments, the obligation of the ships to take pilots to private islands, RBDF. That's going to be our third topic that we may look deep into. RBDF, as far as being the best little navy in this region. Is it? We know it ain't. What needs to happen to make it the best little navy in this region? It's a litany of things. First of all, we got to professionalize the force. The Defense Force deals mainly with what? Vessels patrolling. So we need, first of all, to make sure those vessels can readily patrol. They can always be, the status of those vessels could always be seaworthy, particularly when it comes to the engineering side of things, because sometimes you get a brand new ship, 5-6 years later, it can't sail because some engineering issue. Because there's no proper maintenance plan. There's no certified engineers in the Defense Force. And I say there's no certified engineers from the perspective of the marine, the merchant, or commercial ships. They have qualified people as engineers. They have the captain. The second person on the ship is the chief engineer. That chief engineer is certified as an international chief engineer unlimited. The amount of training and the amount of sailing he had to go through before he could get that speaks to the fact that he's a professional. We know the deal with the Defense Force. The engineers and the Defense Force are basically ratings, eh? The ones who actually sail on those ships. For the most part, they're ratings. And even the engineering officers are not properly trained, certified engineering officers to serve on board ships that are experienced and hold a certification as somebody who have sailed on ships as engineer and know how to deal with this maintenance on board ships. So until we get the Defense Force engineering side, when juxtaposed with the deck side, professionalized appropriately, we're going to have boats breaking down left, right, and center. There's no vessel that the Defense Force should buy as a brand new vessel, and within the first 20 years, that should be broken down because lack of proper engineering maintenance. None should be breaking down within the first 20 years. But guess what? All of them do. I used to be there. I know what they have and what they don't have. I know what we supposed to have and what we don't have. So come on, man. Let's get the Royal Bahamas. Oh, we got another caller on the line. Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
God bless you. Good evening, Glenn. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Jerome. I'm in top shape. You see, I made it, eh? All is well, my friend. How are you, man?
I thought I would pick up the phone and say Happy New Year to you. First time I'm calling in for the New Year.
Oh, okay. Well, I think this is only the second show. But thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, man. God bless you, man. And I trust that your shows for this year are going to be much more diversified and much more exciting and informative.
Well, I'm going to keep pushing
than they would have been last year.
Yeah, thank you so much, my friend.
I don't know if you could top last year, but I'm sure you will try, right?
Well, you know, the thing is, the shows are made that way by callers like you.
Well, and with the wonderful guests for sure that you have on, because you've been having quite a few of them. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. We had some very informative and
interesting guests.
Yeah, very interesting guests. I'm not sure how the guests can go this year because I don't know. A lot of people kind of scared. They must think I can jump on them. But I'm sure I'm going to have some guests. We do have some brave people out there.
Yeah.
And I think, this year, guest-wise, we should be just as good as last time.
I have a particular question for you, not in the marine side of things, but not in respect to your topic tonight, if I may ask it.
Man, you know you're free to ask anything. You know this.
Well, I will deviate from your topic. That's why I'm asking you permission.
I could always rope ourselves back on the topic, man. Go right ahead.
I'm just curious to know in regards to cruise ships and Bahamians working on cruise ships. Mm-hmm. Do you know, or is there any data out there that one can look into to find out how many Bahamians, no matter what the area may be, on those cruise ships, but how many Bahamians may be working in the cruise ship industry on cruise ships?
Well, as far as the people that are working on cruise ships in the deck and engineering side, I mean, as a crew member, not necessarily as a shop attendant or waiter, they would need to have a particular license, and that license have to be issued by the Bahamas Maritime Authority. So the Bahamas Maritime Authority would have a full slate of certified Bahamians. They may not necessarily know where they're working at the moment, but they would know who all are certified to be able to work on those ships.
Okay, and I appreciate what you just said, but see, I'm talking about Bahamians in any job description. Well,
outside of cargo ship, because now you got to remember, we only got a handful of cruise ships or passenger ships. We got less than 200 in total, I think.
You mean on our registry?
In the world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have probably less than 200 in total because they're so huge now. They don't have plenty like how they used to.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And because when you talk about cargo ships now, cargo ships don't carry anybody other than crew. So we have to be limited to passenger ships based on your question.
Yeah, well, I'm only speaking about cruise ships right now, actually.
Okay. Well, they only apply. Yeah, we have a small handful. I know a lady, she was on the show by the name of Antia Herboyan, a very good friend of mine. We graduated from school together. She works in one of the stores that sell jewelry and whatnot on board some of the cruise ships. So she's always going. She get like 6-month contracts at a time, sometimes 8 months. She's at sea right now as we speak,
Right.
working on the ship. And she was on the show explaining how she got the job, and how it's not open to everybody, and a lot of people don't really want to be living on board ships sailing, Bahamians, because we got a lot of young ladies and that in the stores downtown and whatnot, that I think if they really want to work on board a ship as a salesperson in one of those jewelry stores or whatnot, I'm almost sure that they can get linked in. Not a whole heap of them now, because that's not an easy job to get. Now, as far as the service industry, because all those cruise ships have numerous restaurants, they have a lot of waiters.
Yeah, exactly. Tons and tons of
Yeah, so
service
we used to have
personnel,
a lot of Bahamians work on those. Well, a particular one, the Emerald Seas, I think, had quite a bit of Bahamians working on it in the
that's the
dining
name
room.
of the Oceanic.
Yeah, and the
You
big
just brought
red
back
boats.
some nostalgia just now when you said Ambrosies, buddy.
Well, that was our staple. That one. Just,
That and the Oceanic, because that's.
Yeah.
Oh man, that just brought back some serious memory. Because I remember as a little boy, when my parents used to drive us out on the weekends when you could have drive out there.
Yeah, you could have drive straight up to the ship.
Yeah, up to the ships and just watch the lights of those ships, man. That was such a beautiful thing.
They had the Dolphin and the Oceanic and the
You said Emerald Seas, boy,
Emerald
Terry and
Seas,
others.
yeah,
Man,
so
indeed.
many of them.
But you see, the reason I asked that question about Bahamians working in the cruise ship industry, generally speaking, I was listening to something on YouTube earlier, and talking about cruise ships and stuff, and I just became curious just to find out if we have any data in the Bahamas regarding Bahamians being employed, generally speaking, in the cruise ship industry. Because I just think it might be a good thing to know.
Jerome, we have over 1,600 ships registered under the Bahamas flag, and I can tell you we don't have 10% of the crew for those ships being Bahamians. I mean, you got a lot of Bahamians who want to sail and can't even get to a ship, because we don't have crew and agencies here that are recognized enough for cruise ships to take them
Right.
in competition with the big ones, like in the Philippines and in India, and even Ukraine,
Right.
although they're going through what they're going through now.
And another reason I believe that is, Glenn, the Bahamas being a nation of practically a nation of ocean, because the majority of our territorial space is water. We don't teach hardly anything in this country regarding the maritime world, whether it is swimming in the school system, whether it is canoeing and kayaking for pleasure on our lakes and our creeks, whether it is just general swimming, water safety practices. We as a people, we don't know how to swim as much as we used to years ago. We don't know much about water safety now as we may have years ago. And I believe that is something that we as a people should have never gotten away from. We should have enhanced that. Sailing, for example, sloop, boat building, all of these things are a part of the maritime world. And we used to, you had sailors who could look at the sky, the clouds, and the stars at night, and they could tell you how good the weather or bad the weather was going to be.
Yeah, but we still have that. No, that ain't going nowhere.
But I mean, have you had or consider having some of the old timers on your show to talk about stuff like that?
Yeah, man. The first show I had, Mr. Edens Taylor.
I missed that big time. I missed that. That was the absolute first. So yeah, and I do remember missing that one.
Yeah, we talk all about how all the mail boats for sale, none had engine when he
exactly. Yeah.
And they had to rely on the elements to get from point to point.
I suppose it would be a good thing to have the old time way of doing things, featured on the show every now and then, because a lot of listeners, including myself, even though I grew up in that era, there's still, I'm sure, a lot of things, Glenn, that we Bahamians don't know about us that I think would be good and as a nice, refreshing bit of memory lane kind of experience, just to hear those things again about the way the Bahamas used to function and how self-sufficiently And I suppose how we can do it all over again
You sound
in the marine industry.
You sound like you really love maritime, Jerome.
What? Glenn?
But I want to know how.
Train me to drive a boat as a blind man. So if I ain't love the sea enough to do that, I ain't know what I can love the sea.
But you don't love it enough to listen to Maritime Matters all the time. You know, we be talking about these things in and out all the time.
Well, Glenn, I wish I could listen to the show all the time. But
you can't.
Unfortunately, I can't.
Ain't nothing to stop you. We go.
So you say right there, trust me.
Whatever causes you to don't listen to the show, let me know so we could rebuke that.
You know how life goes. You know how life.
I know, Jerome.
Yeah, man. But seriously though, I don't know. I'm one of those Bahamians who believe in highlighting us, no matter what area of life it is. But I just, the sea and the things about the sea. Boy, I don't know.
And there's so much opportunities. I got another call on the line.
Yes, sir. Okay, man. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you so much for calling, buddy.
Come on, you're welcome.
All right. Call on the line. You're welcome to Maritime Matters. Hello.
Good evening, Captain Bain. This is Captain Bain.
Captain Brain himself. How are you, sir?
Indeed. Very interesting topics tonight. Sam, I don't know if you're going to make it through, brother, because those topics, each one of those topics that you will have mentioned, whether it's illegal immigration, the defense force, the pilots, etc.
Yeah. And then we got the Red Sea dilemma coming up. We can talk about the Houthis.
Oh, man.
We could be rocking and rolling tonight.
What's going on in the world?
Indeed.
And when you look at world trade, which is the bigger picture.
Oh yeah.
World trade is going to be very, very adversely affected. So
yes.
Merchants out there, Bahamians, everybody. At the end of the day, if ships got to go around Africa, the southern tip of Africa, to get to the European market and to get to the West. Look for some price increases. Look for a lot of changes coming soon. Even though we may not be hearing about it a lot in the local news media, these things it takes a while for these things to really materialize, and for the delays to set in and the like. So yeah, we're gonna have an interesting year ahead of us in terms of prices, in terms of everything, in terms of the market and the like.
Well, I can tell you the Houthis right now have most of the world fleet. You're talking about cruise ships, container ships, car carriers, tankers. All of them are now going all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, my friend.
Thank you very much. And
so
that's if they got to go around the Cape of Good Hope, you're talking about the increased cost of fuel.
Yeah, like in 2-3 weeks.
Delays.
Yeah, that's right.
About everything to do with maritime trade, and the maritime trade deals with everything that we use, whether it's a ballpoint pen or papers or
90% of goods.
Everything.
90+% of goods.
Everything.
Moved by maritime. And when you get that clogging going on right there in the Red Sea, up in the Suez Canal, and then you got another clog going on by the Panama Canal because of all the drought, they can't find enough water to keep the locks supplied. So they got a big thing. Sometimes the ship anchor, they don't get enough water for the ship to be able to keep moving. It's a big problem right now worldwide.
Huge problem.
Yes, sir.
I've tried to call my good friend Kai Mills on 2 occasions just now. Apparently his phone is either off or he was change number or whatever. But I think we got to get Kai on the show because he can give us a better insight on what is going on in Abaco. And just to speak to that a little bit, when it comes to the shanty towns in Abaco and the proliferation of these structures there, I think, like you said, the government is well aware of these shanty towns. It's just a matter of what we're going to do about it. And I can tell you, we got to continue to push that message, and you've pushed this message on so many of your shows. We have to deal with the hiring, the people who hiring these illegals. And if you look at Abaco, you look at Exuma, and you look at Harbor Island and all this. The vast majority of the labor force are these illegals.
Yeah, but you can't blame them. We got to blame our authorities, and we could blame us eventually, because if we sitting back and allowing our authorities to to just ignore these things, then we got something might be wrong with us also.
But I call on my good minister. I call on my good minister to at some point consider coming on Maritime Matters. Let's address this. Let's address this head on. Let's figure out collectively how to fix this problem, because this affects everything that is in every aspect of this country.
Yeah, but you just said what we need to do to fix it.
Whatever.
What we need to do to fix it, all we need to do is clamp down on people who working without the proper work permits. And once they do that, they'll be flying past us like we're here, because they don't want to come in no more because they can't be able to work.
But the question is, who's going to clamp down with it?
It's the Ministry of Immigration. I want you to know they know where all the jobs are in this country. They know where all these people are who are not properly documented to be doing certain types of work. It's the Ministry of Immigration. They know.
Cap, come on, man. You expect the Ministry of Immigration? This situation has existed for eons. Now, all of a sudden, the clear blue sky. Is it your expectation that the Department of Immigration going to do something all of a sudden?
I tell you one thing. If we don't put pressure on the government of the day, and I talking about across the board, because all the governments have been falling short on this. If we don't put pressure on the government of the day and stop talking about, we can do something with them in election. Man, we ain't got time to wait for no election. We can put pressure on whoever in the chair now. And we only could do that through protest, meaning on top of this.
So if that be the case, then let's figure out who's going to organize this, how we going to get the information out, what do we seek to, let's document, what do we seek to achieve, and what is our end game, and because at the end of the day, if that be the case, we got so much things to protest about this. I mean, every day we got something to protest about, because we not only have an immigration issue, we have a crime issue, we have an issue, a traffic situation where we have some little small, I call them robber cars that do anything that they want to do. The bus drivers are doing whatever they feel like doing. It seems sometimes I get scared. I feel like I'm in a lawless country.
Well, you can't put the crime issue among things that are legislated. See, the thing is, you can't really legislate how you can fight crime other than what you already have in place with the penal code, right? When it comes to immigration, everything is documented what they ain't supposed to be allowing, and that's an easy thing to fix. Now, this crime, it's hard to, you ain't gonna know when somebody gonna do crime.
Okay, listen to me. We had in times past, I'm sure you remember when we had this all those financial bills that were passed one night in the House of Assembly, right? The government can, if it wishes, pass whatever law that they think deems necessary to be passed in one night, one day.
And they can pass all the laws they want. But if the fellow want to kill somebody, he can kill somebody.
I'm not talking about the fellow who wishes to commit crime, because we got to pass some laws that causes persons who purpose in their mind to commit crime, to deter them, to cause them to say, something, wait a minute, or if I do that, they're going to do this to me.
Yeah, but we have those laws on the books. They have those laws on the books, and these fellas like terrorists. I'm Captain Brain. Them terrorists ready to die. When you see them go out on a scene, you can imagine a person strap bomb to their body just to kill a few.
Boy, I don't know.
I think our fellas getting to that stage,
I think there's a cowardice crew. I don't think they will strap no bomb to themselves. I think if the government of the Bahamas says today or tomorrow that, something, if you purpose in your mind and you take somebody's life, the system going to take your life, and it don't have to be hanging, because if hanging is considered barbaric. Yeah, but
we already have that on the books.
It could be. I just heard about a case where in the United States, where they're gonna legally inject, they're gonna punish a murderer using nitrogen.
And you believe that's gonna cause them, if they have somebody to kill, to think, boy, if I kill this dude, they may catch me, and I may have to face the nitrogen. These brothers ain't thinking like that. So you got getting
I don't know whether or not you think about it. I think we need to exhaust that avenue first. Whether it's hanging, whether it's lethal injection, whether it's whatever it takes, because these there are persons in this society who have purpose in their mind that, you know something, I'm going to continue to be a societal misfit. I am going to be a murderer, or I'm going to be a thief. I'm never going to look for no meaningful job. I'm never going to be a productive member of society. I'm a thug. That's what I'm living for. That's how I roll. And they listen to that Tupac Shakur music, and they smoking that weed every day, drinking and whatnot. That's not going to change.
Let me tell you what solution I think.
The reality is, you now
call ICU on the line. Go ahead.
All right, but I'm going to yield to the call.
Yeah, that's all for me.
The thing is, we have this thing is deeper than we think, and immigration is central to a lot of it. I'll call back to deal with the other points, but I'll let you get the next caller.
Appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you for indulging me.
Yeah, please call back. Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Hello. Boy, look like we wait too long for that caller. Oh yes, my friend, Brother Brain, always very insightful, and always have his points kind of lined up properly. A very, very sharp, educated young man he is. But, I want to say to him that we need to do things in this country to cause young men, children, from the time they're in primary school, to want to get engaged in other things. We don't have primary school sports. We don't have community sports. We don't have so many things. I was reading a clip today where in January this year, we had must be about 20 or so young men being scouted for signing up to be professional baseball. You know where all that stem from? You see that same Freedom Farm and what the next one named by St. Andrews? LLB, whatever that next one name, right? JBLM, something like that. Right. Junior Baseball League in Nassau, something like that, right? Those two have put out so many. You see DJ on the game, right? But DJ, you see why I have you in here? Those two have put out so many potential professional baseball players, including the one in Freeport, of course, right? We ain't gonna leave them, but then the one in Bimini, all them lending to us having potentially sound. And if it wasn't for them, these people, we don't know what they would end up doing, because when you get into sport and you love it, now who love basketball more than Bahamians? We don't even have a primary school basketball league. We don't even have a community basketball league. Every constituency on this island should have levels of basketball team, levels, age groups of baseball teams, levels, age groups of volleyball teams. There's no reason why that can't be. And you know how much professional athletes we will start. And not only that, you know what sports does? Sports actually causes your mind to don't have to even think about crime. Because you love that sport so much, you ain't get time to think about crime. And that's the way it was back in the day. Before all these young adults were staying in the house playing games on the computer. We used to be moving around playing sports. Basketball, softball. I remember one time I used to be through Windsor Lane. My grandmother lived through Windsor Lane, and on weekends sometimes and through the summer I'll be in Windsor Lane, and I'll just walk along Windsor Lane by Stephen Dillett Primary, and in that yard, these fellas, the level of softball they used to be playing in Stephen Dillett yard used to amaze me. But you don't see them kind of things no more. Because we're too busy with electronic stuff and wanting expensive stuff. So we into getting those things that keep us fit. Those things that give us opportunity to get scholarships. We ain't into them no more. But the communities, every member of parliament should ensure that there is age groups of teams in his, and then they could have constituency against constituency. Why we can't have that in Nassau? The parents will now start to come out and get involved. People could come out and sell snacks and drinks and it could be, because I remember when I was a coach of a baseball team from Freedom Farm, and I only coached for 1 year. But during that year, I had the guys come in to practice 3 times a week. Do you know that after about 2 months of that, every time it's time for us to come out and practice, we had like a bleacher full of people from the neighborhood coming to watch those boys play. Just watch them practice. Anyway, like my friend Hash display, I digress. They say I digress, right? Let's get back on terms of maritime. Okay, we got a caller on the line. Let's see what this caller has to say. Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Yes, Captain Bain, I called to get you back on track.
Please, because I wanted to tell you some of those things, but we just need to get these young people interested in some things they could do that could help them later on in life.
Well, Cap, you're absolutely correct. And you know something? I think we're gonna vote for you. I think we can vote for you to be the next prime minister.
You can't vote for me because I can't do politics. I can't be a team player unless that team is going to be like me, and I kind of bigoted, and I'll be a bad politician. I can't make it. We need people like you who got a little, you ain't crazy like me. so I can put my couple $2 behind you.
and we got plenty of work to do. We have a lot of work to do in this town, in this country, to get our country back on track. But I'm just so amazed that some of the things you're saying is so basic and so, like, for example, you mentioned constituency against constituency.
Yeah.
We used to have some of those things. It may not have been constituency against
Park League. You remember Park League?
Yes, I used to play in Park League.
Well, you could have played basketball like that. Park League was an easy, you could have made that team.
Man, look, I was a basketball kind of superstar. It's only because I broke my ankle. That's the only
you was all right. I don't know if you could make it to on no scholarship, but you was all right in basketball. You could make an academic scholarship. I don't know about no basketball scholarship.
I wasn't the best, but I was pretty good.
Yeah, you could hold you on.
But the point that you would have made is so important, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that our political masters are listening, and because some of these things will have immediate, not delayed, immediate effect on a lot of the social ills that we are currently plagued with. And I'm particularly pleased to see that the urban renewal program is being reconstituted within the various areas, and so that's a good thing. But like I say, the level of commitment that we need from parents and guardians and community leaders have to improve tremendously, because they're going to be significant to this whole effort when we think about how to bring our young people back in line and how to get them concentrating on something other than criminal and behavior and other behavior that's nonsensical.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
Right?
But
I want to speak to. I want to speak to, if I may. I would like to speak to this whole engineering debacle that we have within the country, really and truly.
Within the country,
Defense Force. But we have a dilemma in this country with engineers. We don't have qualified people to even take a mailboat to Miami.
Well, you can't to take a mailboat to Long Island. No, you're talking about Miami.
Well, for Long Island, that's
domestic.
That's within the Bahamas. So so they don't need too much.
We still need, because
but you need, but there's no real enforcement of that locally. To the extent that when juxtaposed to say if a vessel travels international, so that's the point I'm trying to make, and we would have discussed on numerous occasions in the past. We need to identify these folks from the high school and junior high school and put them on the path. And maybe, I'm not sure if anyone from BTPI is listening. I know they do a lot of technical, they have a lot of technical training. I'm not sure how we can assist and how we can get this thing going, but we need to get it started so that young Bahamians could be directed to where those needs are. Similarly, just like how we know that we have a nursing shortage, we know that we have a shortage of people to do the radiology and all the other technical services within the hospital industry. We need to target our young people from junior high school level and put them on the path and get them and continue to direct them towards the end game or the end goal of filling gaps within our country where we need those trained professionals.
Absolutely, and you speak about the engineer. Let me just shed light on something that you may have missed, right? Well, I mean, I'm sure you're aware, but you know that we have in our country now for decades a company that basically supplies the oil to the family islands from Clifton Pier, and in some cases they go to Turks Island, they go to Guantanamo Bay, they go to Jamaica, and this fleet of ships, they used to name marine tankers, right? I'm not sure. I think the name changed from marine tankers, but I'll just call them marine tankers. This fleet of
if
ships.
I remember correctly, Misty worked for that company for a number of years.
Yeah, Misty would have worked for them, Nisha would have worked for them, but
yeah,
they're not engineers, eh?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, they don't have any Bahamian engineers. I remember one Bahamian that worked, and that's because I kind of insisted that they hire my friend named Peter Stirrup. I saw him the other day. I haven't seen him for a long time. But Peter Stirrup had his chief engineer certification for vessels under 3,000 kilowatt. And because he went off to school and he got certified, and I kind of insisted with Captain Ritchie, God bless his soul, back then, and Captain Ritchie hired him, and he was like the only Bahamian in the engineering. You know, they have like 6-7 ships, and each one of them need to have a chief and a second engineer and an engineer rating.
Yeah.
And we don't have Bahamians they got all them foreigners, and they work only within the Bahamas, except for the ones that go to like I said, those southern destinations. There's no reason why at this stage of the game they shouldn't all be Bahamians.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%, but not only that, you got every male boat at Porterski Dock.
And every Defense Force boat.
Yeah, I talk about foreigners, I talk about persons who...
Oh, yeah, well...
There's no male boat that I know of that has Bahamians, except for probably the Captain C and a couple other just boats that only have very limited international exposure.
And that takes us right back to the BMA. The BMA is the only entity in this country that has the obligation under the Act to expand and create opportunities for Bahamians in the maritime industry, and they don't do it.
So, yeah, how do we fix that? How do we get then this whole business of recruiting, whole business of training?
We gotta get the BMA to implement the local safety certificate, which will require people to be certified, and we will have people like yourself and other persons who can survey all of these vessels, so that at least we could start somewhere, man. We need to start somewhere, and that is already required by law.
Yeah.
So you ain't want to get me started on that.
Well, you know, this is a fight that we've been fighting for a long time, and hopefully in 2024, I'm committed to dig my heels in and fight even harder for the Bahamian people and for those young Bahamians who's been deprived of a lot of opportunities within this industry. And so, yeah, let's continue the heat on not only the BMA, but you got the Port Department. If everybody who is concerned with this industry would do their little small part, inclusive of the Port Authority's board and everybody else, I think we could see a change, but it'll have to be commitment on all fronts.
Well, it have to be commitment on those who are obligated by law, first of all. Because ain't nobody else can do it.
But the reason why I say all fronts, because we may have to say, you know something, until because the persons who are obligated to do this by law are not doing what they supposed to, we gonna have to shut down this. We gonna have to shut down that. We gonna have to protest here. We gonna have to protest there. But at the end of the day, it's gonna take everybody, and even everybody who's listening to this show. I hope that person listening would also lend a voice to these issues, so that things don't drag on long, and be able to get some meaningful change sooner rather than later.
I agree, my friend. Very good. That's the route we got to take. I'm gonna keep banging. I mean, like I say, I ain't no politician. I ain't trying to be none. I would do whatever I could do from my perspective on this. I got a voice to speak, and I'm speaking. You got a voice to speak. You can call in. You can speak, but you know plenty of people. So you know your good friends in the ministry and all the rest. You need to get on them, man, and wherever I can assist, let me know.
Indeed, and I'll do that. Hopefully, we got to make some gains this year. And we have some outstanding issues now. Don't forget, we got to get those guys, those 4 Marines. We got to get that roundabout renamed. We got to have to get those roads renamed. And we got to continue to push for those 4 Marines, former Defense Force Marines who would have perished on that ill-fated day, 10th of May. I think it's 1980. We need to make sure that they are honored in the proper way.
You know when May coming up, I'll be screaming. Anyway, we got another call on the line, but we keep in touch. Feel free to call later on. I can take a break in a minute, but let me get to this caller.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Caller, you're on Maritime Matters. Thank you so much for calling.
Captain, I hope you're doing well.
Hey, Professor!
I gave you my number several months ago and you ain't called me yet.
No, I never get your number. That was someone
else. I gave it to the producer. How you let you fall down like that?
I think that's when we was on Marlon's show. I was on Marlon's show.
Yes, you were, yeah.
But I'll get it from him tonight. I think he have it. I'll make sure.
You know what I'll do? If you put me on to him after I done speak my word.
Okay, good.
I'll give it to him again because you were asking for people to assist you.
That's right. That's right.
And I am calling to do just that.
Very good, sir.
And let me just say, I've been listening to the show when I was outside. You were talking about the shanty towns. I don't know, is that still on the topic?
Oh yeah, that's the biggest topic for the night.
Okay, good. All right, let me just ask this question. You might know how to answer it or not. Mm-hmm. The minister responsible for shanty towns, is he acting constitutionally sound, yes or no?
I am not the constitution man. I yield to you, sir.
Well, that's the way to answer it.
Indeed. I was trying to call you one night when we was talking about me and Jerome. JT had a constitution. I really wish I had your number.
The government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and I heard you mention governments. There's no such thing as government.
Okay.
There's only one government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's constitutional.
Okay.
The government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has been violating the Constitution for 50 years.
Wow.
People need to understand the quality of the people you've been sending to do your national affairs. We have been extremely weak and negligent in terms of choosing the right persons to send to do our national business. Now, we could fix that. The Constitution shows you how to do that. In fact, all of our national problems and our constituency problems can be solved by utilizing the Constitution. Not one single person who's called into your show and other shows ever say anything about the Constitution. But everybody want govern. Everybody want rule. They got their ideas and opinions and not going to interfere with their ideas and opinions because Article 24(1) says people are free to express ideas and opinions without interference.
Right.
So if you call and you say that's your opinion, I can't argue with that.
Right. That's your
opinion. Here's where I draw the line. Mm-hmm. If you insist on making that opinion or that suggestion and you're trying to purport it to be constitutionally sound, That makes a big difference right there.
Right. Well, you got to know the Constitution to even purport that, eh?
The Constitution would support.
Let's say to purport that it's constitutionally sound, they should have an idea what the Constitution say.
Okay, they ought to.
Right.
Too many people do not know the Constitution. That is our biggest drawback in 50 and a half years
That's
of,
right.
of being a sovereign nation. I heard the fellow say on one show, he don't mind what the government does as long as they could do something about this crime. I heard some people talking about martial law and other kind of things. They don't even understand what they're talking about.
I agree.
Do you know that the office of Prime Minister is so powerful? It's like a gigantic octopus that spreads its tentacles into every single facet of Bahamian life. The personality in that office can know anything and everything that is happening in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
That's right. Everything comes to that table, eh?
Every single thing. People don't understand how powerful that office is. Now, maybe we need to look at curtailing the powers of the office of Prime Minister.
I agree 1,000 times.
Now, that is something we have to look at very seriously, because that's, if you want any changes in the Constitution, you got to start right there. Because if the wrong person gets into that office, you're going to have trouble in this country. Big trouble.
Yes, sir.
And when he sees the kind of authority he has or she sees in his or her hand, I got to get this straight, that it could be abused. And the powers are extremely broad. You cannot say that a particular personality is acting unconstitutionally because it's all there in the document. The individual has the power to do some things.
The constitutional support.
Constitutionally, yes.
Wow.
See, listen, you see all these appointments being made now, all kind of funny things happening. I got to find out what these agreements are all about, because ain't nobody asked me anything.
Boy, I tell you.
All kind of agreements with this place and that place and the next place.
That's right.
Then the fella can come and tell me we are bound to carry forth this agreement. Now, Article 2 of your Constitution says very plainly, any other law, whether it's regional law, UN law, U.S. law, statute law, any law that is inconsistent with this Constitution, this Constitution shall prevail, and the other law, to the extent of its inconsistency, shall be void.
Absolutely.
And means it's nothing.
Absolutely.
Worthless.
That's right.
That's how I look at anything, what I hear from the lips of the Prime Minister, from any minister in the government, from any parliamentarian. I analyze it. Is it constitutionally sound? The Attorney General has been advising the government wrongly for 50 years.
So Professor, from a constitutional perspective, taking these shanty towns down, is there a difficulty? Does it go against? None at all, eh?
None whatsoever. Could you put up any building without permission?
You ain't supposed to, because they'll be on your case right away.
Okay, fine. So what's the difference with these others then?
I try
these strangers, these foreigners, these aliens, these outside. Do they have more rights than you have?
Well, they shouldn't. But why is it that you think there's so much reluctancy to deal with them, though, Professor?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked that.
You and me back.
All you have to do is look at the behavior of the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The government of the Bahamas is right now giving paper citizenship to persons who are not constitutionally qualified.
Oh, well, I heard a lot about that, and I've heard you on other shows explaining the details as to why that is wrong and why that is unconstitutional, and that they should be made null and void. And I've heard other people saying because of the other constitution they can't do it.
No. There's nothing higher than the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Absolutely.
Even this crap they got down here in Grand Bahama, when I hear the arguments from the government, you got the Minister for Foreign Affairs arguing with the port.
Oh, yeah.
No, man, how we get like this?
Boy.
You're not sleeping in bed, tell me.
That's a
the port is now a big Doberman pincher.
Boy,
So if you've been sleeping in bed with the port, you're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
Where is your constitutional authority that is embedded in the Constitution?
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution is superior to the Hawks-Bill-Keek Agreement.
That even ain't no act. That's just an agreement, eh?
Isn't that interesting? It's not even an act.
Not even
And when I hear them talking this nonsense, I say, what about Article 2 of your Constitution?
Mm-hmm.
Where does that fit in? See, what I notice with the people is no one pays attention. Those who've been given the authority to govern the Commonwealth of Bahamas is not going by the Constitution. That's it. Now and then they'll jump up and say, oh, we got to get advice from the people. Well, then all those agreements that you've been signing secretly, all those treaties you've been signing secretly, what you claim we're supposed to go by, what we don't know nothing about, we need to find them. And we need to get information on them. Every single one of them.
So
From the UPP time straight on through.
So there's nothing to stop us by the end of January from taking down that shanty town or starting to take down the shanty town in Abaco and anywhere else.
I'm glad you said anywhere else because we got them right here in New Providence.
We got them piled up. Well, they
all
took down
kinds of shanty towns in New Providence. And I heard the man say he want to go to Abaco. I don't have a problem with him going to Abaco. But you got to take them down in New Providence and you got to take them down in Abaco. You got to take them down in Andros.
But you know we done take down two in New Providence.
Yes, we got 30 here.
But I see no schedule for the rest.
That's a good point you made.
I want to see a schedule. Why is it that we can't have a 6-month schedule? So that means the people who are at the tail end of that 6 months can have 6 months notice. We started a month from now, so everybody get at least a month notice. And I don't even know if you need to give them no notice, because I mean you ain't doing nothing wrong by taking them down. Now their property, eh?
No, it's not.
And I remember one time.
Contrary to the building code.
Oh, we got another call on the line. I see you call up. We'll be with you shortly.
Okay, but the point is, it's contrary to the building code.
Right.
They have not been, and here's another thing. Let me just add this while it's in my head. Mm-hmm. Those who hail legally. When we take the shanty towns down, I understand now that they're providing housing for these people. You hear any crap like that? A Bahamian loses his house today or tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
He has no place to stay.
That's right.
The government going to provide him with housing.
So
but here's the woman with 8 children, 7, and then 1 in the belly. That's 8.
Mm-hmm.
She now is living off the taxpayers of this country. She is purportedly a Bahamian citizen. You any crap like this?
Man, for goodness sake. I mean, you already break the law, but now we got to pacify you if we correct it? I don't know, Professor. Professor, I am going to leave you on the line so that...
I want to give you my number. In fact, I can give you 2 numbers so you could make sure you get at least one of them to call me.
Appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you.
And I want to help you with whatever it is you're doing. Because when you talk about the shanty towns and you said you need help...
Yes, sir.
I can give you plenty of help.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
So make sure put me on to him now, and I can tell him, give him the 2 numbers and let you call me.
He just step out from his chair, but I'm sure he'll be back shortly. So I'll just leave you on the line, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Okay.
Calling on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Yes, Captain Bain, I'm very happy that you left the professor on the line because I have a question that I needed some clarity on relative to the Constitution. And maybe he or yourself could offer some clarity to the question, because the question is, he would have mentioned how the government would have strayed from the Constitution in certain aspects and in certain things that they do, whether it's the shantytown issue or whatever. But then the question that I ask is that, we have been debating these constitutional issues for years upon years upon years. We know that successive governments have addressed these issues. There's always some matter before the court dealing with it. We have never been able to get anywhere because the government decides how they enforce laws within this country. So how does the Constitution, what the Constitution actually says, help us if we don't have an entity that's independent enough to cause the government to fix some of the ills that are in variance to the Constitution.
When you say an entity, I mean, we get the Office of the Attorney General that basically supposed to be giving guidance to the government on these type things.
But that's not an independent entity. That Office of the Attorney General, that's appointed by most governments, appoint the Attorney General, and if the Attorney General acting up, they'll switch him or her. And we know that.
Yeah, but you can't appoint any entity that is above the government.
Right. So that's my point. That is exactly my point. So when you mention the Constitution, technically the Constitution is the highest law in the land.
Yeah.
But the government of the Bahamas enforces the laws of the country through the judiciary and the like. And so I don't know if we could use that as a basis to frame to fix some of the things we have to fix, because if the PRP government in today, the PRP they see the Constitution in one way. The PRP appointed legal reps, they see it in one way. When the FDM take over, they see it in another way. And any other government who or any other entity who may not be the government, they may see it in a totally different way.
So what you said is there's no entity to check. There's no entity to check the government violating the Constitution. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, to be honest, Cap, I don't know how we do it, but the thing is, I think we need to keep this whole conversation very simple, right? When we start to get that deep into the legal quagmire, things become complicated. People start to not understand what and how to do things. We simply have to say, this is the problem. These are the issues that are being caused. How do we fix these things beyond some really long, arduous legal battle that may take us until our grandchildren grow up to fix?
Now let me ask Professor. I think Professor's still on the line. Just hold the line. I'm going to get right back to you. But let me just ask Professor if he have any input as to how do we actually put the government foot to the fire. Since 50 years now, they've been violating the Constitution.
Indeed.
Yeah, okay. Professor, are you still there, sir?
I'm not listening to what he was saying.
I am so happy you're still there.
All right. It's just that he does not understand constitutional law.
Right.
See, the Constitution is very specific and very clear. Let me give him some simple examples. You see the Bahamas Nationality Act?
Yes, sir.
He may not be aware of that. The government uses the Bahamas Nationality Act, which is only a bill. It is not even legally law, because it never went through the 3 stages as required by Article 54 of your Constitution. 1, 3/4 of the members of the House of Assembly at its last sitting on that particular issue. Number 2, 3/4 of the Senate giving its approval to that particular law. Number 3, it says that any changes to entrenched provisions of your Constitution must be approved by the people in a referendum for it to be sound. You got to go 3 distinct stages. Now, see, I understand what he's trying to say. He does not understand constitutional law, so I'm not going to knock him in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
I appreciate his expression, but he needs to learn and to understand. The Attorney General of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has advised the government unconstitutionally by telling them that they could use statute law to change constitutional law. That is totally incorrect. Article 6 of your Constitution, where the government has been violating the rights of single fathers for more than 50 years. The Privy Council has ruled, follow the Constitution. It didn't tell them to change anything. They didn't add anything new to Article 6 of your Constitution. All the ruling said was, follow the Constitution. The government has failed to do it. Have they ever cleared up now how many people were involved? how many children were disenfranchised by the government of the Bahamas, how many fathers were disenfranchised by the government of the Bahamas, how many of these mothers had to go through this struggle for half a century.
So, Professor, I understand everything you're saying, and I think he does as well. But the question here really is, what can we do once we know that the government is violating the Constitution to cause them to fix it?
No. They're not going to fix it.
Okay.
Not the government of the Bahamas. They've been doing it for 50 years. So this is deliberate and intentional.
So how do we address it, though? How do we
They address it. One way you could take them, you have to take them to court.
Oh.
We have them now in court right now today.
Or the country, who takes them to court? Any citizen?
Any group of citizens can do it.
Or a group of citizens?
Yes.
Okay. So they're in court now.
Constitutional right. That's what the law is there for. The government of the Bahamas, let me say this, Captain.
Mm-hmm.
The government of the Bahamas cannot willingly behave in any kind of way, shape, or form unless the Bahamian people allow them to do it.
But that's my view.
That's why you have a constitution to keep tabs on the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Right. So we need to find a lawyer.
People get so politically polarized.
Right.
But when you look at the Constitution, it doesn't say PLT, it doesn't say F&M, it doesn't say this is an F&M constituency, it doesn't say this is an F&M PLT or F&M member of parliament. That kind of crap is political. Mm-hmm. It says members of the House of Assembly. Ain't got no label on it except Angliston or whatever name they have, Centerville. That is what you have. You have 39 seats in the House of Assembly. The Constitution says you have a minimum of 38 or more.
Right.
So I'm saying to you is, they put all these political labels in the way, and then it's no such thing as you cannot know what the Constitution says. That's why you have the supreme law. And statute law must be subject to the supreme law of the land.
That's right. That's right.
We have two Privy Council rulings right now. The Darcy-Ryan ruling, which the government has continued to violate for the last 40-plus years.
Oh, wow.
We have a ruling in the Jane Rooney case on Article 7, where the fellow's trying to get citizenship in this country after the date is closed, because the Constitution specifically says in Article 7, at the age of 18, but before you turn 19, look at the people who are asking for citizenship now in their 50s and their 40s and their 30s, and the government is handing out citizenship like candy.
Like candy is correct.
That's contrary to constitutional law, and you have to take the government to court. That's one way you could deal with them. There are some other ways you could deal with them too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make yourself knowledgeable. What does the Constitution say? What is the government doing? Is the government constitutionally sound, yes or no? Well, you could always get a yes or no answer because the Constitution is right there. The articles haven't been changed. It's not a matter of this one looking at it this way and the next one looking at it that way. You had all those legally trained personalities in the Attorney General's office. You mean none of them got any sense to say to the man, listen, you're advising the government incorrectly.
And
you are unconstitutionally in what you're telling them, because the chief legal advisor to the government is the Attorney General. And he's been giving them bad advice for the last 50 years.
And right now, there's a group of people that have them in court.
Even worse.
That has the government. Now let me ask you though, Professor. When a group of people put the government in court, would that be the government of the day, or would that be the government across the board? How does that...
I'm glad you asked that.
Right.
Glad you asked. That's a good question. It is the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's who you're suing.
Whoever's in the chair.
Whoever happens to be existing at that time.
Oh, okay.
So people get all mixed up about PLT government, F&M government. When you check the Constitution, it says the government is the Bahamas.
Not no administration. Yeah, no administration.
You may have different administrations of the government.
But it's only one government, right?
There's only one government, and all of them have been violating the Constitution from its inception.
Wow.
From the Tinling administration straight on down.
Absolutely.
For more than 50 years, 50 and a half years now.
And counting.
And counting, yes. They have persistently and continues even more so today to continue violating the Constitution, even though those personalities who they are making citizens says in their own Constitution they cannot renounce. The Constitution says you have to renounce.
That's what I understand from some other experts in this area saying
it's
that
in their own Constitution.
And we doing it every day for them, eh?
We're doing it every day for them, yes.
At contravention of both constitutions.
In contravention of their own document and our document, which takes priority because we are adding people to this country who are not qualified to be citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. They have got to take this seriously.
Boy, that's a serious one.
We cannot allow the government of the Bahamas to continue to add more and more people to this country who do not qualify. So you got to stop them. It's just as simple as that.
Got to be eligible.
Yes.
I agree.
So, that's the problem, man. And, you see too many people sit back and they want... see, this is why you got Article 24.1, which says very plainly the last phrase why you have to do some things collectively. This is not a one-man's right. I be on the air every Monday talking about the Constitution, dealing with constitutional law.
Right.
And I am not going to come on the air and say these things as I'm saying to you now if Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson doesn't have the proof.
Yeah. So,
Professor, anyone, if they believe the professor is telling not truthful things,
speak out.
Challenge it.
Well, that's the reason why I always yield to you, because I hear you, and I've never heard anybody come out and say, boy, Professor, you know what he's saying, or Professor say this wrong, because they there's no challenge. So that's how you know when people know what they're saying, eh?
Well, exactly. The point is, you had one to challenge my qualifications the other day, and the question was asked, what is it that you have heard Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson say that is contrary to constitutional law?
Exactly. And that's what it boils down to.
You see what I'm saying?
I tell people, I say, I got 1 degree. That's the BTE degree. I've been to England. I've been to England trained for the Defense Force officer for 1 year. I've never did no other schooling outside of that.
Yes.
And I ain't trying to do none. But one thing I get is good common sense, and when I read things, I understand them.
The thing is to make the people understand the law. That's why when I went into law, I had to ask myself, what law are you going to study? When I came to understand the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Supreme, I never turned back.
Thank you very much.
Because it makes me to understand every single other law. It has to conform with constitutional law. Wherever it doesn't conform with constitutional law, Article 2 says it means nothing. It is void. It's empty. It's futile.
Null and void. That's right.
It's just as simple as that. That's how I gauge everything what the government does now.
Okay. So, Professor, you say
I say, is this constitutionally sound? Yes or no?
Yep. Were you able to leave your number for me, sir? The producer's still there. I don't know if he...
I gave it to him, and I told him to... I heard what the gentleman was saying, and I wanted to answer him. Wonderful. But he has concerns, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you hold on the line so he could hear you. Cause
give him my number, too.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, he's a good
man.
man.
Let him take 2 of them and then call me, because I'm interested in people like him knowing what the Constitution says.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to kowtow to any administration of the government of Bahamas. Notice what I said. You don't have to kowtow to any administration of the government of the Bahamas, including this one that's there now. That's the government of the Bahamas.
That's correct.
Simple.
That's correct.
That's constitutional. Let me stop right there, because I could go on.
Professor, I appreciate you, sir, and thank you so much.
Don't forget to call me now. I'm waiting to wait with you.
I will be linking in with you shortly.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, too, sir.
All the best.
Yes. That's a great professor. Captain Brain.
Man, look here. I am happy that the professor came on and put his 5 cents on this Constitution. However, right, with the greatest respect for the professor,
I got another caller, so we gotta
I'm going to move very quickly.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if the Constitution is so clear, and we've been doing this thing for 50 years, 50 years, almost the length of time that I've been on the earth, and we haven't had any change in practices by successive governments. Then pray tell me, what's going to change now. It reminds me really and truly of the United Nations and the fact that we have all these international laws and treaties like the Geneva Convention that deals with the rules of how wars are to be conducted and what constitutes crimes against humanity and all that kind of stuff. But it is nothing. If nothing is being done, then please, Constitution. I don't know.
No. That's a big difference, though. I gotta stop you there, Captain Brian, because when you talk about the United Nations,
on gambling, Cap?
No, but the United Nations, their laws are international. They don't apply within no territory.
I understand that.
So when you talk about the Constitution, that's the supreme law of the territory. So that's a different story altogether.
Okay, fine. I yield on that particular point, right? But we also had things like there's 3 stages that you have to be fulfilled for some things in the Constitution to be changed, right? We had a referendum on gambling, for God's sake.
But that was not a constitutional referendum. Come on, man.
That they don't want gambling, but yet did it change anything?
No, but that was not a constitutional matter. The Constitution will speak to that. So that was really, it wasn't even necessary to have a constitution to change. I mean, a referendum change that. Referendums are for constitutional changes.
Right, but yeah, for 50 years, all right. If it hasn't changed in 50 years, please somebody tell me what is going to happen within the next 50 years. That's going to.
That's the reason why the professors say a group of people have them in court, so we can change it now. Once you start, you got to deal with it legally, and that's what they're doing. That don't mean otherwise it will go for another 50 years.
Get the next caller, but I just wanted to say, this legal system that we have in this country, I don't have much faith in it. Sorry,
but that's all we got, my brother.
I think
that's like saying you ain't got no faith in the police force. That's all you got.
And the people have to rise up with respect to issues in order for this thing to change. Thank you very much, and I'll yield.
Thank you for your contributions, my friend, and we'll keep in touch.
Indeed.
Roger. Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Yes, I have 2 questions.
Thank you, sir.
Why is it that we're having all these name change from one name to the next? And why are we granting all these citizenship? What I see with the name change, how do you know if I say that my name is Mary Brown and I want to go to Mary Knowles, what proof do you have that I am Mary Brown? And why would I want to change from Mary Brown to Mary Knowles? And why are we allowing all these citizenships to come in here? That in itself is a disaster because we have no records of these people. We don't know who they are, what they're from, why they want to come here, and we're having it on a daily basis. Why are we doing this? Do we know the danger of this? We don't know if these people say who they are, is what they are, and they're going from one name. Why are they creating these names?
Absolutely.
What is the story behind all of it?
Yes, my dear, you're right on point. And if you were listening to Professor Sidney Thompson when he was talking, what he was saying is, while all of that is going on, all of that is being illegally authorized. That goes contrary to the Constitution. Particularly, there are criteria that people have to meet to even be considered, not only for name change but for citizenship. And these people are not meeting the criteria, and the government is going ahead, governments across the board, and giving these people citizenship, which is totally against the wording or the legality of the Constitution.
Yeah, but what proof do you have to say that my name is Mary Brown? I may say my name is Mary Brown. I may be Susie Baker, but I come here as Mary Brown.
Yeah,
you have no proof. You're only going by what I tell you.
But I think legally, if I want to change my name, I would have to produce my passport, and my passport would say what my name is, and then I would say I wanted to change from that name to this name. I think that's a legal proceedings that can happen.
But what I'm saying, for a person to change one name to the next, there should be a question as to why you want to change your name.
Of course, you will have to satisfy the authorities as to why you want that name change.
Yeah, it must be something sinister, because if you're Mary Brown, you born and you've been Mary Brown for so many years, Then you want to go down as Mary Knowles. Why do you want to change to Knowles? What is the agenda? Why you want to go from one thing to the next? What has happened? And so much of it. Why you don't want to carry your name?
I agree with you 1,000 times, my dear. Well, we're fresh out of time. I really would like for somebody to call and respond to that. I'm sure there are some people more qualified than I to respond to that. But like you say, it's common sense. The only reason people would want to change their name is because they have a problem with their name, eh?
No, if you are upright, honest person and whatnot, there's no need to change your name.
I agree. So that means if they want to change, then something got to be wrong.
Yeah, what is it? Why? Why you not comfortable with this name that you were given?
Absolutely.
And so many people.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that contribution, my dear.
And say hi to Annie Mae.
Oh, well, you know I could get Annie Mae right now because the show was going so fast. I got to get Annie Mae right now before I close out. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings our show to a close. Boy, we had a hot show tonight. A lot of topics are uncovered. But, of course, we got next week. And we will be delving straight into these other topics. And I don't know if I got my good buddy DJ. DJ, you can be here with me next week? You never know. Okay, DJ said you can be here with me. So let me just give kudos to my sponsors. That's Bahamas Maritime Connection. That is, boy, we even didn't do a commercial today. That is One-on-One Pharmacy. And of course, Bimini Pilots and GBI Pilots. They are the sponsors for tonight's show. And let me just give a shout out to Annie Mae. My producer's giving me an extra minute. Annie Mae, I know you got me to do it. Annie Mae is going to be 91 this year, people. 91. And she's rolling and ticking. And oh boy, me have been talking all the time. Annie Mae been to church and doing all her stuff. She said the weather was too cold for her to go outside. Now the weather cooled down a bit in Freeport. It ain't too cold no more, so she can now head outside again. You know how we beaming when we go. So Annie Mae, I say kudos, hello to you. Continue doing your thing, my dear. And ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing else to say except Maritime Matters out.